Everybody, welcome to another episode of Just Before You Say I Do. Wow, uh, this one is our Christmas version. This is our Christmas version. Wow, Truth Omobizi, you are number one today. Wow, that is awesome. So you are our winner for this week's edition of Just Before You Say I Do. Please come over and pick up the keys to your new two-bedroom apartment in Magodo. No, sorry, they are demolishing houses in Magodo now. We'll give you the one in Omole. How are you, Choose Omobizi? Thank you for joining. Oskenks and Jumokefa for us 650. Oh wow, Jumoke, thank you for joining again. I think last week was your first time. Thank you for joining again. Uyiosa, welcome. Blessed for blessing. Kipsy Prince, Truth Omobizi, yes, so you are the first today. Jumoke, and hey Amechi, how are you? Oh, good to see you, Truth Omobizi. No, Jumoke, you are not the first today. Truth Omobizi is. You missed by seconds. Okay, this is Ade Wolu Olamide. You know, Instagram names are a spiritual matter. You have to squint, you have to really put your eyes in it to be able to pronounce some. So thank you everybody for joining quickly. Wow, already we are about 10. Thank you, Oskenks. Thank you very much. Love you too for joining in. J Corrosive, thank you for joining. Bowe 127. Prodigy Fashions. Law_Junior_Francis. Hello everybody. Welcome. And this is our Christmas edition because Christmas is just 2 days away. I don't even believe that I will be on air early morning on Christmas Day. They are not giving me room to even rest. It is well with my soul. So, as we wrap up the year, I think this will be a sober moment for some of us to reflect on the events of 2020, 2021, to see that really a living dog is better than a dead lion. Lots of people started, worldwide. We've had over 1 million casualties to coronavirus alone, not to talk of other natural causes and sicknesses and afflictions from other diseases. But we thank God that we're alive and we thank God that we will get better. Let me greet every other person. Okpeade 88, Akon's World, Mike Sachs, Rachel FM join David_Besh. Okay, I think I have to stop calling names now because I will injure myself. Tito_Sage, Oluwadai Fumi Wendy. That is all the alphabets in the table. It is well. Simon_Snare. Momo3 1356 Nosa_Emmanuel. Thank you everybody for joining, and we thank God for probably this will be, is this the last week? No, we still have, I think New Year is next week. Saturday, is it? Yeah, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31st, 6 days. So, today, my special guest is not yet here. My co-host is not yet here. I wonder why. But if she's not here, I'm going to kidnap somebody who would co-host with me. She's always there, and it is well. Mom of 3. Oh, see, it is small. Lema Binu. The letters are small. I really have to squint to read. It was like but it's the mom of three. You'd have put M-U-M. So this one is M-O-M-O. So it's like Momo. If you put M-U-M, we will know that, okay, mom, then of three. Don't mind us. So today we have spent, wow, 6 minutes just under for introduction. Tari, okay, my co-host just joined us. Let me see if I can bring her up. I would send the invite to her. I'm waiting for her to join in. She's one of our very strong in our support group, and here she is, Madam Sabina Bond.
Hello.
Okay, let us adjust the camera, raise it up a bit. So
Okay, I'm trying to put my phone on the power bank.
Down.
Sorry.
Yeah. Stealing. Down again. Yes.
Good evening.
Yes. Welcome, Madam Sabine.
Thank you.
For those of you that know who she is part of our support group, the Gnosis Support Group, and she is also a certified counselor. She's a very, very, very passionate person who has taken a stand against domestic violence and abuse. She's one of my inner circle. So welcome, Madam Sabine.
Thank you. Thank you.
How was your day?
It went well, as good as it can go in Lagos, in the city of Lagos.
welcome. So, okay, Shabolongo, how are you? All the way from, I don't know whether it's France, Greece, wherever you might be in this part of the world. Welcome. So today, I think there's an echo. Is there any device on, Madam Sabine? Is there any device on? I'm hearing an echo.
No, I don't have any device on. It's just my phone. My phone is...
Okay.
No, nothing else.
Okay. So today I don't want to spend too much of your time. Shabolongo is in Benin. Welcome. Okay. I don't want to spend too much of the time, so I want us to go straight into the matter. Today we are talking about, I'm still talking about social manipulation. That is how some of us are deceived into marriage by the cunning word. If you understand what I'm saying, how we are manipulated, we are pushed into it. And one of the ways I would treat this evening is by that phrase, don't worry, love will grow. They tell you love will grow in marriage. Don't worry, just marry him. Love will grow. Now, I wrote this down so that I would not take too much time in explanation. But when they tell you to go ahead and marry someone you do not truly feel much for, someone you don't really, someone that you have no real romantic feeling for, but you are told that maybe he fits the type, and don't worry, marry for love. They even go marry love will grow. They even go ahead to tell you that to be our parents when it was their time to the village, and they bring one woman for them and happily ever grew to love each other, and love will always grow. Madam Sabine, I'm hearing it.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening to you.
Are you sure there's nothing is what we're saying?
Nothing really. No, nothing is on. Just the air conditioner. There's nothing else.
Okay.
It's not on.
Maybe it's the network.
Yeah.
I can hear myself. So, let me start by telling you this. Love, by definition, is a deep feeling of affection for someone. Love is both a noun and a verb. Now, for it to be a noun, that means it is the name of any person, place, or thing. Okay, I think someone else is saying that, Madam Sabine, you need to mute your phone, that the echo is really bad. I'm hearing the echo as well. So when you want to talk, you just unmute. Thank you. So love is a person. Love is a deep feeling of affection. It is a noun and also a verb. Now, this is one thing with a noun. It is a person. Love is present tense. So it means it is either there or not there. A person is either present or absent. So people say, I feel a little love. If you are going to marry somebody, it is not a little love. It is either love is there or love is not there. I cannot leave my hand in a place and then go and leave my leg somewhere else. It's either I am there or I am not there. So love is not a future continuous tense, not that I will love him. If you cannot love what you are seeing now, you cannot love what you will see in future. You need to understand that even people that marry for love still struggle to cope with a character they see unfolding in future. Not to talk of you that never loved before, and you think that you will grow to love. It is not possible. Love, you know, one thing about marriage is that it is the only institution that gives you a certificate before you actually graduate in the course. A certificate is an official document which is given to you to when you have completed a course or a training. So it is given afterwards, after you have completed it. But marriage is the only one that your marriage certificate is given at the beginning of the program, as if you have graduated. Do you know why? Because in marriage, it is assumed that there is love and agreement. So love and agreement are the only prerequisites for marriage, which a certificate is given because the marriage is the end product of your love. So it is the end of your love. That is why it is given to you as a certificate that you have completed the course, because love must have been there and consent. So if you marry without love but consent, that is, if one of the two ingredients required is missing, then the marriage becomes voidable. What does that mean? That means if you do not marry for love, you are marrying for something else. That is not love. I don't know if you are getting me, but I would get you somewhere. Anyone that will marry without feeling anything or loving the person is called fraud, because the certificate given to you is a certificate of love and consent. It means that you are marrying the person for another reason, which is not love. And there are 5 reasons that people usually marry. In all my 20 years, there are 5 reasons. 5 reasons people marry for anything other than love. Can I tell you? The first is money. Some people marry for money, for comfort. The second is age, when they think that they're getting too old. All my younger ones have married. I'm now 38 years old. Then the third is poverty. Some people marry as a way out of poverty. Then the fourth is the religious marriage. Some people marry for religion. Let me give you an example. When I was in a church, a gentleman who had been diligent in church was about to be made a pastor. But because he was not married, he could not be ordained a pastor. So they arranged a wife for him from the church. And how did they do this? They know someone in church who is also looking for a husband. So the pastor called and said he had been praying, and he has a leading that your husband is that guy that was to be ordained as a pastor. And the lady was excited that, does he know? And they had told him that, okay, they will help him get a wife. So that is how they linked both of them, and they got married. Some people marry for religious purposes, for religion. And then some marry for sex. They don't really feel much for him, but he's very good in bed. Or she's very good in bed. I have attended all that. I've attended the marriage of a lady that could not speak, as in she was so, the social gap was too much. It's like a professor marrying someone who just has a secondary school leaving certificate. The social gap was too much. And, you know, I said, this person will not be able to talk in your company. That is, you know, like you're a professor, you're talking in the company of learned people, and then you're marrying someone who cannot even, and the man said, yes, I know that would be a struggle, but, you know, she's very good in bed. That sex will solve everything. That no matter how angry you are, if this girl handles you, oh, you will not. And that was why he married her, because of her sexual exploits. And a lot of people, you will find out that it is physical attraction, the erotic feelings that is the context and the binding force, the pulling force of their marriage. She carry him for front, she carry him for back. She's, you know, that is what the pull is. There is really no content to this container, but just what she has to offer you is just her body. She has nothing else to offer. And that is why I tell people that don't marry someone who has nothing else to offer but her physical. Why? Because very soon everything will drop. By the time she gets pregnant, gets a child, the breasts that are so big will now become, you know, things will start going south, drop. And then what will now be the package? So people marry for 5 major reasons. Now, if you are there and someone is telling you, don't worry, love will grow, that means you are marrying for other considerations apart from love. So I tell you that love will grow is the excuse of those who have no options. You have no other option. I mean, it's him. Because why? He fits the bill. There's something about him. There's something about her that makes her a viable, but you don't really feel anything for. And this is what will happen. You will get married to her and then also have the person you love outside. So you'll be married to the person you have been. There is a reason. This is a contract. This is a reason. There's a reason for this marriage. Maybe for some social advantage or financial advantage. Maybe because she fits the profile of family and tradition. But the person you truly love, that you will find later, will be outside. So you end up having 2 families. It is a setup. Love will grow is a setup for failure. Love will grow. Really, let me tell you, the end product of love will grow is that I am in the marriage for the children. Why? When you feel nothing for somebody, the first thing that happens when you get married, because there is no friendship, there is no love, sex will replace all that intimacy. And then the person find out they always get pregnant very quickly because it will be sexual. There is really no love connection. So the only thing that you people can do for intimacy is sex. There's really no love there. So the person quickly gets pregnant. And now the child now becomes the center of the marriage, because that is where the love now is. The love of the child replaces the love for husband and wife. So you'll find out at the end of the day, when they've had their fill, they will tell you, I'm only here because of the children. Why? Because I never married for love. You know, I think, Madam Sabine, we've treated some cases where people will come to us and say that I didn't marry for love. I married because it was time to marry. You understand? So what now happens? They now start using the children. The children are now the anchor. You will not find these parents particularly overdoting on the children, because that is where all the love is. There is no love for husband and wife, it's the children. So the children become the center of the marriage. Meanwhile, it ought to have been the love of both spouses. And this is the condition of a lot of marriages today. Everything is about the children. There is nothing between the spouses. So when they tell you, don't worry, love will grow, it is a setup for failure. It rarely does. Now, love will grow is a state of denial. Let me just give you that one for free. It is a state of denial. The reality is that when you do not love the other, then there is no substance to the union. Let me take you back to the beginning. In the beginning, Adam was alone, and then God said, it is not good that man should be alone. Abi? Then caused a deep sleep, took a rib, and then Adam woke up and God brought Eve. What was the first thing Adam said when he saw Eve? He said, this is flesh of my flesh and bone of my bone. My question to that is that God only took the bone. Where did Adam see the flesh? Have you ever thought about that? He looked. He said, this is flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. But the truth is that it was bone of his bone. God did not take his flesh to form Eve. But the flesh he saw was his union with her, that this is my kind, this is my type. And what was his next sentence? He gave an outstanding tradition that holds till today. He said, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. He was the first person that used the word wife. God did not use the word wife. The first mention of the word wife was by Adam. So Adam gave the institution of marriage. He was the one that gave her the title wife and told God that I would live. You see, God was his father. He had no mother. But he said, immediately he served notice on God. He said, for this reason, that is for this woman, for this reason, a man would leave his father and mother. Who was his mother? He had none. And will cleave to his wife, and these two shall become one flesh. Not one spirit, one flesh. Flesh there is the love. What he sees, my kind. This is my person. When you say you are one flesh with somebody, that is a bond of intimacy and of friendship. Adam and Eve became the first classic case of love at first sight. He fell in love immediately he saw her and served notice on his father, God, that this is the reason I will leave that our evening gathering for this woman. And that is what happens today. Your child will leave you to go and cleave to another man. And for that reason, that is that man, I will leave you, daddy, I will leave you, mommy, and I will go and cleave to that man. It is, I will bear his name. I will no longer bear your name. I will bear his name. That is love. Now imagine, for what reason will you now go and cleave to a man or cleave to a woman and say you are bone of his bone, but are you flesh? of his flesh. No, there is no substance. There is no love. So what will happen? You will have children. Your children would just, the only substance, the only flesh you will have is with the children. The love that you will have, because they share your DNA now. It is your DNA. That is what will suffice. So the end product of those that tell you love will grow is, I'm in the marriage because of the children. Now check this out. If there were no children, eventually they would leave. I give them 4 years. That marriage will be rocky. That marriage will be cold. That marriage will be icy. I dated someone, and she told me one time, she said, when he touches me, I have to think of someone. I have to think of you. The people, someone I love. She said she would think of me when he touches. She has to form a picture in her head that another person is touching her for her to respond. You are seeing men in bed with their wives, and then they suddenly call another lady's name. And then an argument starts. Who is her? Who is she? Who are her? Who are them? Who is this? Why? I am with you physically, but my heart is with someone else. Love will grow. Those that would tell you that, well, our fathers did it, that she being in our father and our mother's time, they will go and get them wives from the village, and then the love will grow. Can I share a statistic with you? We took a statistic some years ago, and it was for those that were married within the years of 1965 to 1970. So you know that those that were married 1965 to 1970 are great-grandmothers now. That is the third generations of children. Now listen to this statistic. 3 out of every 5 of them were abused physically or emotionally. 2 out of every 5 did not even know they were abused, but saw it as normal because they grew up in abusive homes. So they saw it as normal. 3 out of 5 had to give up career and ambition for marriage. 5 out of 10 were raised in abusive homes. The only common denominator there is that all of them were told to be quiet. So they never talked. That is why when anything happens to the children, they start that, if you know how I suffered for you, I suffered for these children. They always tell you that I suffered for these children. But they were married. Why were they suffering? Their husband was okay. The economy was better then. They suffered abuse because a lot of times there was no love. So when people are telling us our fathers and our mothers, it's because they never told you. In those days, there were no NGOs that were fighting for domestic violence and abuse. There were no government policies like the Violence Against Persons Protection Act. There was no United Nations Charter against gender-based violence. There was nothing. So they had no one to go and report to. There was no CNN, there was no BBC. There was just one television station in Nigeria called BCOS, that's Ibadan. So where were they going to report? So they had to what? Keep quiet. Then, according to our tradition, when you are married, you are gone. You cannot come back. They tell you that on the... So they knew that this is a death sentence. So they just keep quiet and they find their joy and their repose in the children. But now, we have the United Nations Charter, gender-based violence, violence against women. You have NGOs that are fighting against domestic violence and abuse. Lagos State has started the Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team. You have people like us. You have people like us that come on air, they give you emergency numbers. So people are talking small, small. But still, in every marriage, they tell you that every marriage has their own. Oh, keep quiet. Don't bring a third party. Don't let your situation get, and those are fallacies that people hear. That is why people die in silence. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm telling you today, love it is not a future continuous tense. They say love will go. Love is present tense. It is either there or not there. Don't set up yourself. And they say, don't worry, love will grow. No, sir. If it is not there now, with what you see, marriage is an eye-opener. If you don't feel anything now, my dear, when you get into marriage, you will be even more irritated because you will now see his true character. If you cannot find love now, you will not find love later. There are exceptions to the rule. Some people will say, well, I didn't really like him. I didn't really, or as we grew together, I started feeling. Can you imagine somebody telling me I didn't really like you, but when we're staying together, I started liking you small, small. And what was that? That is what you call marriage under false pretense. Legally, you did not love me. You did not love me. So I spend my eternity trying to make you love me, buying you gifts, buying you. Meanwhile, one ragamuffin will just come, and that is the person you are showering all the money I'm giving you on. Social manipulation. Love is a prerequisite. If you don't see it, if he doesn't love you, if you don't love him, if you don't see it, you see, it is also the shortest cut to domestic abuse and violence. When somebody you are easily irritated by, I don't love you. So when the person is clinging on you, you don't really feel that way. Do you understand? It is a setup. If you don't love him, don't love him. Find somebody else. Sorry, if you don't love him, don't marry him. If you don't feel for him, plenty people, Madam Sabine, now, that will come and they'll tell us, when they come for sessions, I never married for love. So, Madam Sabine, let me. Do you have something to say?
Well,
you can unmute.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Well, one of the things you mentioned, you talked about the 5 things people marry for in place of marriage, in place of love. Another thing could be also status. Some people just want to marry up higher up the social status, maybe into royalty or into fame or whatever. So that's also another reason why people will marry, and they don't really love the person, but this is something that they replace love with. Then you were talking about our mothers, when they married, when they arranged marriage. I think somebody asked a question about instances where people who married, what happened, maybe after a decade or so. Someone asked a question just now. I was trying to scroll it. I don't know if you can see the
Okay,
question.
I think I can see it. Can you shed light on instances where people fall out of love after a decade or more in marriage?
Okay, so I was going to, maybe I should use that. So, for example, if in the first place people don't really love each other, what is there is more of a tolerance. They just tolerate each other in the marriage for whatever reasons they married, because the person it also depends. One person may actually love the other partner, but the other person who is not really in love is just going in there for one thing or the other, like you mentioned, sex or money, poverty or status or whatever.
Money.
But after a while, those things will no longer satisfy. And you find you're just tolerating this person. And yes, you are right. A lot of domestic violence would exist because after a while, especially, domestic violence doesn't really have gender. It's both males and females, but where the male is usually physically more powerful or financially more, has more financial power than the wife, for example. Yes, physical abuse, domestic abuse, emotional abuse, all those things will begin to come in. And you find that the women, especially back then, had to keep quiet because they had, like you also mentioned correctly, they had nowhere else to go. Their families had already told them, once you leave, that's it. You're not coming back. So go make that marriage work. And you see that they take in all kinds of things, all kinds of treatments. They didn't say anything. They didn't have anybody to talk to. It was actually disgraceful for you to admit that this marriage is not working, or this man is beating me. What the other people will tell you, especially women, is that they will say, that is marriage. Oh. Just stick it out, for the sake of the children. So this toxic narrative just keeps going on, and it's passed on to the daughters, and, on and on. So the women folk especially keep saying that. You'll be surprised that if you complain, it's the same women in your family that will tell you, that's what they're also seeing in their husband's house. So stay there. You can't leave. You can't be a divorcee. You can't leave your husband. Oh, who are you leaving the children for? So it's really sad. And I was going to talk about the women of the old again. There's a friend of mine, we were talking about domestic violence, and she said there was a day she discussed with her mother-in-law, and Mama is very old. Mama is a great-grandmother now. And she told my friend that, she wished she had been able to go to school. She's a brilliant woman, but she didn't have the opportunity to go do things that she really wanted to, because her husband, and also the era when she married, you were basically under your husband. You really didn't have a say. You couldn't have a career. You couldn't do anything really outside of what the man of the home wanted back then. So she said she really regrets that she never really lived life on her own terms. She didn't really enjoy, doing things that she wanted to. And you see that a lot of women just tolerated their husbands' excesses, whether it's the emotional abuse, whether it's physical abuse, all kinds of things were going on and are still going on. This narrative is still there. You see, this same mama will still tell her daughter, don't leave your husband. Do you understand? It will still go on because they didn't know any other way. Maybe now it's better because we have these agencies, especially here in Lagos. We have NGOs, we have the internet, I mean,
You see,
just ask a question and the internet is filled up with all kinds of answers. Just ask one.
It's amazing. Another part to that is, you see, love is not the entirety of the qualifications for marriage. In the equation of a marriage, love is just 20%. So when people just marry only for love, you understand what I'm saying?
Sorry, my battery went off for a moment.
Okay, no problem. No problem. I think you need to mute. We're hearing the kick. So in marriage, there is compatibility. I may love you, but we are not compatible. We can't stay together. For example, you have two hot-tempered people. They love each other, but their qualities, they are both hot-tempered, so they fight a lot. Do you understand? Compatibility. Two goats cannot really marry well because they are both goats. They just they won't agree. But deep inside, I love her, but and they try because it is based on love, but they are not compatible. Compatible now has to deal with their intrinsic qualities, their character traits, what they are. For example, you have two people that are jealous, two people that are possessive. You cannot greet this one. This person is already eyeing you. Who is that man? Who is that woman? There are some things that when you love them, but they are qualities. Let me tell you something. A friend of mine was telling me that, do you know, when I'm asleep, my wife would take the phone because it is a fingerprint, and now take my thumb and while I'm sleeping. So there was a day she did it, and you know, he just woke up with her holding his thumb and the phone, and he was like, what nonsense is that? Said that they sent a code to your phone and I wanted to. And then she started wondering, because at times when they have an argument, he will just call a name. And he will be wondering that, where did she know this? Well, it was that night that he found out that while he's sleeping, she would now hold the phone. And, you know, she liked all these things. When he's at work, she would just show up. I just came to check you. If you, and he said, you're coming to check if I'm at work. Why didn't you call my office? We don't allow all this. She just wanted to be sure that you are in the office and you're not. So I love her, but her attitude, her character, the way she's is causing wahala for me. Do you understand? So they fall out of love because the real character is now what is causing the commotion. So you cannot marry for love alone. And that is why America really has a very high rate of divorce. Why? Because you go to a place like Las Vegas, people meet and on the same day they go and marry. Why? Because she makes me feel one way that I have never felt before in my life, and then they marry, and then in 3 weeks they divorce. In fact, some 3 months ago, a woman in Brazil married herself. It was the first, she got married to herself. She said because she was tired of cheating and all that, she got married to herself. And 2 months later, she applied for divorce. She divorced her own self. Is all it was in the news. You divorce your own self because you now saw someone that looked like it. You know, it is almost impossible. You are just one. You divorce your own self. You married yourself. Then now you are divorcing your. So the issue is, are you compatible? Do your characters align? So that is what makes some people fall out of love, because their real nature starts showing up, because you did not really get to know them in toto. You just, I love him, I love her, he's a good person. Nigerians will say he's very God-fearing, he goes to church, thinking religion is a quality. Religion is not a character trait. No. So I think I've answered that question. Yeah. Is there any other question, Madam Sabine? I'm not seeing any other question there. So I will go ahead with this, our love will grow, love will grow. Ladies and gentlemen, love is not a plant. It does not grow like that. It's not that it was absent here, then it will be present, it will come. And this is the mistake. Love is a person. It is either here or it is not here. Now, these are some qualities of love that people need to know. Love cannot be summoned. You cannot summon love. Christians, you cannot decree love. You cannot decree love. And that is why I have a problem when some people come together and then they decree that love must live in this house. Love is not something that responds to decree, to summons. That is why you cannot make love potions. They expire. The person's eye always opens. You do kayamata, you do special package. They have to keep renewing it because love cannot be enchanted. It is either there or not there. Enchantments have to do with deception. You have to alter the person's mind and give an illusion of love. But then his mind always reboots, resets, and takes over. You cannot summon love. You cannot decree love. That is why I have a problem when people break up and then some people come back and say that they decree restoration of love. You cannot decree love. Love is a noun. It is a person. It is either there or not there. You cannot summon it. You cannot summon love. You see, the Bible says, for God so loved the world. Love was there. That is why Christ could die. Love was there. But if love was not there, God cannot summon love to force himself to love the world and then give up his only begotten son. Let me tell you something. That was the most precious thing to God. And he could not have given it if there was no love. Love simply is. It is. Do you understand? Love is. Love is not in past tense. It is not in future continuous tense. Love is here. It is per time, per space. It is here or it is not here. Don't get into the deception, into the manipulation that don't worry, just because some people want to get you out of the house, they just want to push you into the arms of, don't worry, love will grow. When I met your daddy too, I didn't feel anything. You know, they match. I didn't really, but I grew to love him. Who told you you grew to love him? Can't you see the way she was always abusing the father? Love is. It is not in future continuous. It is not in past participle. It is in present tense. It is not even present continuous. It is present. So if you do not feel love for somebody, it is a very essential, you know, it's just like Maggi. You know how small Maggi is in a big pot. It is small, but it is very substantial. If you do not feel romantically attracted to someone, that is love. Love is romance. You can never, it cannot, it is either there or not there. Simple. So to those that think they can pray love, they can summon love, it is an exercise in futility. I went to a church where the pastor was preaching and praying. There was a prayer session and he said, I decree all broken homes and all broken relationships, that God should restore them. And I did not say amen, because they were broken for a reason. Why not find out what reason it was before you go and restore? Was it because of abuse? You just restore an abusive. Do you understand what I'm saying? There is a reason. So people, love is not a religious thing. Love is not a carnal thing. Love is not a class thing. Love is not a social thing. Love is. Love is a quality even held by the gods. Love is a quality even held by mortals. Love is a quality even held by animals. You see your dog knows you. When you are coming, it starts wagging the tail. Love is. It is not the property of human beings. It is. It comes. It saves some people. You just look at somebody, you want to hurt the person, you just look at, say, I don't know why, but I will spare you. Love is. It is. And it makes you do something you are not even used to doing. So if it is not there, there is no marriage. If it is not there, there is no, it will not grow. Tell them. It will not grow. If you have somebody, ask them, how do you feel about this person? If it is anything short of, then they are marrying for another reason. They are marrying for either money, they are marrying for either sex, they are marrying for either poverty, they are marrying for either religious purposes. And what was the fifth one? You are marrying for other things apart from love. And it is impossible to sustain. Do you understand? It is impossible to sustain. Some people marry because of age. You know, I mentioned 5. Age, I think, money, age, poverty, religion, and sex. You know, age is it is time to, I just married because it was time to marry. I'm now in my 30s. Okay, yeah. People have been toasting you since well, I'm 30 now, you know, I'm right. So you see some people sending to me that, you know, just introduce me to, because it is the age, just bring them. I'm ready to marry. But there is a problem. The way you go in might be the same way you will come out. You married because you just had to marry. I keep telling people, I got married at 42. And, you know, I had just made up my mind. What is my mission statement? To die happy. So my happiness is not in the form of a woman. Because if the woman dies today, does that mean I will never be happy again in life? My happiness is from within. It is me. So I would smile, I would laugh, I would dance. And I will know that my happiness should not be tied to my status, whether I am single or married. It cannot be. Someone asked a question, Debo.onon. Can we also say love will be? No, love is. Or should I say, is love futuristic? No, ma, love is. Futuristic is what you call science fiction. It is fiction. Futuristic is fiction. If it is not here, if you cannot love what you are looking at, what you are seeing right now, how would you love in the future when marriage will now expose you to the flaws of this person? You are not even loving the original version. You now want to love the flawed versions. You know that marriage will now expose you to the weaknesses of each other. You did not love the original uncut version. You are now going to love the flawed version. It does not, I'm telling you, you know they work. I am telling you. They marry for other reasons and they are cool. Regina Daniels is cool, marrying someone who is older than her father. She's cool with it because she married for money. So she posts on social media every time that, oh, my baby, my baby. We know why you married. You married a billionaire. It's okay. That's what you want. But then, unfortunately, he has other wives. You are not the only one. And we all know all of them are marrying him for one thing. What? He's a billionaire. So no matter what, you see, you give off what it's for money. The mother was pushing. I saw a video of the mother pushing that, you know, just marry because she wanted when they married, of course, the mother got a Range Rover. If you understand. I'm using that as people marry for other reasons. Status, I want to be like them. So you marry a rich man, you marry a senator, you date a senator. People marry for other reasons. Ladies and gentlemen, love is not futuristic. Love is present tense. It is or is not. It's the same thing. Christ is either here or not here. You don't have parts of Jesus. You don't have like the hand of Jesus in your life, or the leg of Jesus in your life, or the toe of Jesus in your life. You have Jesus or you don't have Jesus. Jesus said, you are either for me or against me. You are not for against or against for. It is either you are here or you are not here. Love is not futuristic. What you are talking about futuristic is called science fiction. It is fiction. It not go work. So when in your consideration, please, first thing, how do you feel about him? Are you aroused by this person you want to marry? Does the person, when they touch you, do you respond? Do you want to hold it? That erotic kind of love, is it there? That feeling that you trust the person, that you are safe, you love this person, is it there? If it is there, fine. One more thing, do they feel the same about you? The person, love is reciprocal. If it is not reciprocal, you're on a long thing. You feel this way about someone, but the person does not feel the same way. You know, what is salvation? You feeling the same way God feels about you. You repent and then you love him. You say, I love Jesus. He is my friend. He is my friend. You know you love him back. That is the only way salvation can work. Because if you don't love him back, you cannot obey his commandments. You know, Jesus changed everything from thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not do this, to love the Lord your God with all your heart. Because if you love someone, it will be easy to obey them. It will be easy. Compliance will be easy. Submission will be easy to the person you love. But when you don't love, you cannot submit. So it's a can of worms. It's Pandora's box. It leads to one problem after the person says, then you don't really listen to. Yeah, I don't really listen to you because I don't really love you. I don't feel that way about you. And she doesn't respond when I need sex. Is it sex? Is sex food? Why? Because I don't feel you. When you touch me, I cringe. I just close my eyes and I start thinking about my ex, or I start thinking about something, or I just block my mind. There is a lady I know, she has to drink to sleep with her. She has to drink. She has to practically drink. There's a man that just, you know, he just comes and he just does it, you know, he's on a schedule, you know, because he doesn't really feel, because the woman he wanted to marry, they didn't allow him marry that. Love is, ladies and gentlemen, if it is not there, you are not there. So this is 9:07, we have 3 more minutes. Madam Sabine, do you have anything? Is there any question that I failed to answer, or?
I was trying to
Madam Sabine,
look.
go ahead.
I don't think I can see any, but I just wanted to say, well, love is not one-sided. It, you know, it has to be both ways. Yeah? It's a two-way street. It's not one way down. And your love alone cannot keep a marriage. That person's love for you alone cannot keep a marriage. It has to be both ways. It has to be mutual for that marriage or for that relationship to work. So it's either there or it's not there. You can't force anybody. Like you pointed out, there's no love potion, no prayer that can force love. Love is both ways. You know, it has to be there. It has to be mutual as well. You know, love, respect, trust. Do you feel safe with this person? Does this person feel safe with you? Are your secrets safe? You know, things like that. There's so much. It's not only love, there's so many other things, but yes, we're concentrating on love today, and I would say it is a two-way street and you can't force it. It's either there or it's not there. You know, so
Love is. Love is just simply is. Love is. It is simply it. It is not going to come. It is not, it was here before. That's past tense. You know, love is. If it is not here, if it does not live here, then it is nowhere. You cannot marry with something you do not. It is fraud. That means you are marrying for another thing, another reason, either age, either money, either poverty, either religion, either, you know, other things other than love. Love is. And one thing I need you people to understand, though, listening to me, love cannot be summoned. Love cannot be conjured. Love cannot be commanded. No, it is a noun. It is either it is or it is not. It is not omnipresent. That is at all times in all places. No, it is either here or it is not there. So when you go and you start commanding and praying, I command love to be in this house, I command, no, it cannot be. It is either it is there or it is not there. I command all the broken, I order restoration. You cannot command it. So stop being Christian about love. Love is a state of affairs. It is a universal principle. Love is not the property of human beings. Immortals have it. The gods have it. Animals have it. I gave an example of your dog. When your dog sees you, they wag the tail. They love their owner. There was a dog that, you know, I saw on YouTube where the owner died, and then I think either a relative was now giving the dog to take care of, because the owner was an old man, he died. You know, after the second day, they will just see that in the mornings, they won't see the dog. Then very late at night, the dog comes back. So one day, it now did not come back the second week, you know, before it would go in the morning. So they started tracking the dog, looking for the dog. You know where they found the dog? On the graveyard, on the gravesite of the owner. He just laid there on the, you know, by the, what do you call it, the tombstone. It was just there. The dog was not present at the burial, but tracked the owner and knew the owner was buried there and would remain there. Animals also feel love is. Love is. I saw it was a very serious sight on YouTube. You know, the dog would just leave home and go to where the owner was buried and be there all day, all night, in the rain, in the. So they started now bringing food to eat there. The dog just remained there where the owner was buried. So, ladies and gentlemen, love is. If you don't feel it, don't marry. Tell them. You can't summon it, or you can't pray it. You can't pray it. You can't jazz it. You know, all this. That's why you have to be renewing the jazz. You know, they will tell you, it will expire and you have to come and renew it. Love cannot be concocted. It cannot be enchanted. You can't recite incantations, recitations. No, love is either here or it is not here. So that love will grow is a fallacy, and it is a social manipulation of marriage, telling you, don't worry, just marry him. And love will grow is the excuse of those that do not have an option. So thank you, everybody. This is 9:12. We are 2 minutes behind. So yes, I would be on air on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Relationship 360. They said I have to come on Christmas Day, and I don't. Anyway, no problem. It will be questions and answers. So if you have a question, you know, 2 hours, you know, it will be awesome. And I have a special guest coming to also share the show with me. You have to tune in, and you would find out. Also, for those that want to reach out to me, just before the show, someone was calling and had to call someone to call me, someone I know to call me, that this man says he has been calling. You know, just leave a message for me on this Instagram page. I would see it, and I would respond. Dr. Kona, thank you so much. Julie, the cream cake, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. Madam Sabine, I wish I could speak in German. How do you say thank you in German?
Dankeschön.
Dankeschön.
Yeah.
Dankeschön. I think German is one of the hardest languages to, even the grammar, when you look at the way the alphabets are arranged, you cannot roll that way.
No, it's not so bad. It's not so bad.
So,
I mean,
Dankeschön.
Yeah. Dankeschön.
Thank you very much for today. I really appreciate it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we just have 8 more days to the new year. Please let us be sober a little. Let us look for where we got it wrong in 2021, and let us not take our mistakes into 2022. Let us not take our regrets and disappointments into 2022. Let us not take our challenges into 2022. Whatever, you still have 8 days to resolve that issue, either to cut it off, either to abstain, either do something about it. Let us go into 2022 and start a fresh slate. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you again for joining us. I really appreciate. See you again on Saturday. God bless. Goodbye, Madam Sabine. Goodbye.